class, we are going to go through the process of how to change the pseudocode into the Python code for our first programs here. I would like to start by reminding you about commenting your code and the requirements of commenting your code. You can read this document, but we always start our file with a doc string. We use 3 quotes. They can either be single or double, but you just have to match. We write the program title, the author, your name, the last date modified, and then the purpose of this program. So the purpose of this particular program is to demonstrate the process of writing Python program from pseudocode. So I've already done the first problem that we saw in the pseudocode document. I've added a comment outlining that this is problem 1, and we're going to enter 3 numbers and display their average. I start by printing out the problem name and then asking for the input, converting that input to a float, creating the sum and the average, and then printing the value. And we can then run this and enter the first score, 78, second score, 88, and 98 test scores, and then it displays the average. So we have that one done, and now let's together write the code for the second problem. So first I want to put a problem statement into a comment here. So this is problem number 2, and we are going to prompt for and enter, and because I'm using the 3 quotes, I can make it multiple lines long. We're going to calculate and display the final price including sales tax. And to end the doc string, we add our 3 quotes matching what we've already had. Okay, so I would like to print that this is now problem 2 to designate the difference between this one and the previous problem. But I also would like it to print a line between the problem number 1 and the problem number 2. So we remember that there's an escape key, which is that backslash, and then I can put in what I want to happen there. I could add a tab, or but in this case I want a new line, so that it's going to print a new line. It doesn't know just because I put a space there that it needs a new line, but I want it to have a new line. So inside of the quote, the backslash, and then the n, and then I have to end my quote. Okay, so we've printed that this is problem number 2. Now our first step is to display and enter a price. So I'm going to, the variable is price, so I write the variable name, again starting with a small letter by convention, and then we're going to input and ask for enter the price. I'm going to leave a space after that, have a variable tax, and I'm going to assign that to the value of the tax rate, 0.65, and multiply that by the price. That will give us the tax, and then we know the total is the price added to the tax. And that's all outlined here in my pseudocode. And then lastly, I just have to print out the final price with sales tax equals, and then I have my $sign, my end of quote, then I put a comma, and then I can add the variable total. And there we have our second problem. So I'm going to run this and save it. It gives me the value, enter the price. I'm going to add it 1,234.56, and I get an error. What? Oh no, why do I have an error? And we can go back and find out. So line 27 of our module, can't multiply sequence by non-int of type float. What? Let's go back and see. So when I come back here to my code, first of all, I think what I'll do is comment out the previous program so that I don't have to mess around with that. Now all I have to worry about is the problem at hand here. The problem we see here is that when I've asked you to input the price, I haven't converted this. And check the type. I can see that it's a string. We know that whenever we have an input statement, that input is read into the variable as a string. If we don't convert it, it'll remain a string. So here I'm trying to multiply a float by a string, and that just can't do that. So we have to convert the price to a float. We can do that in the same statement. We could do it in a separate statement, but we add float, and that is going to convert whatever gets input at this point into a float. Now you just have to make sure that what you enter is in fact a number, and otherwise you're going to get an error again. Well, let's see if this works now. So enter the price, 1, 2, 3, 4, 56, and there we go. Except that this is 4 decimal places. Money is never that way, so let's go back and round that. So we can add here our round function, and then we want to round it to 2 decimal places. If we just left it like this, we know it would just truncate it to be just an integer, and we know we can have cents. So let's try it again, run our module, save our source code, enter price 1, 2, 3, 4, 56, and there we go. Nicely rounded cents. And again, we can come back here now and remove the comments for problem 1 and see what happens. Save the source code, enter test score, 78, 88, 98. There we get the average of those 3. We get our nice new line or space between our problems here. We're going to enter our price, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 56 cents. We don't want to enter it with a dollar sign. If we add a dollar sign, that's a character, and it'll see that as a string, and it won't be able to convert it to a float. And you can see we have nicely rounded total amount. It all worked out